You felt it, didn't you? Like something was off, but you couldn't explain it. This isn't random. This is your moment. Because what you're about to hear was never meant to reach you this early. You were never like the others. You tried to fit in, but something in you resisted. Even when you stayed quiet, your energy spoke loud. And people noticed, even when they didn't understand why. You've always been watched, not in fear, but in curiosity. Because there's something different about you, and this part matters. You weren't just going through life, life was preparing you. All those moments where you felt alone, when people walked away without reason, when things ended suddenly. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. But you didn't see it like that back then. You thought something was wrong with you. You questioned yourself. You tried to shrink, to be accepted. But it never worked, because you were never meant to blend in. And here's what you didn't realize. Every struggle you faced was shaping your awareness. Every betrayal was sharpening your intuition. Every delay was aligning your path. You weren't being punished, you were being punished. Think about it. How many times did you feel like giving up, but something inside you said, "Keep going"? That voice wasn't your fear, it was your calling. And this is where everything shifts. You've been noticing patterns lately, repeating signs, strange coincidences, people reappearing, situations mirroring each other. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Something has been trying to wake you up, not slowly but urgently, because time is changing, energy is shifting, and you're right in the center of it. But here's the truth they never told you. The reason your path felt harder is because your role is bigger. You weren't built for ordinary outcomes. You were built for ordinary outcomes. You were built for impact. That's why distractions never fully satisfied you. That's why surface-level conversations drained you. You crave depth because your soul recognizes truth. And this part matters. You've outgrown places before you even understood why. You felt disconnected, even in crowded rooms. You've had moments where everything went silent inside you. That wasn't emptiness, that was evolution. Your mind was being reset, your energy was being upgraded. But you misunderstood it. You thought you were lost. You weren't lost, you were being redirected. And here's what changes everything. There are things you were protected from that you'll never fully understand. Paths you wanted that would have destroyed you. People you trusted who weren't meant to stay. You called it bad luck. But it was divine interruption. Because your path requires clarity, and clarity comes through isolation. Now think about this. Why do people misunderstand you so easily? Why do they project onto you? Why do they feel threatened, even when you're silent? It's not about what you do, it's about what you carry. Your presence exposes things without saying a word, and that makes people uncomfortable. But here's what you didn't realize. That discomfort is proof of your power. You were never meant to be fully understood because your journey is not common. And this is where the truth hits. You've been waiting for a sign, a clear answer, a moment where everything makes sense. This is it. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because everything you went through was leading to this realization. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not forgotten. You are being prepared in silence. And now, things are starting to align. You're feeling it, right? That shift inside you. That awareness growing stronger. You see things differently now. You don't react the same. You don't chase the same. You don't tolerate the same. That's not change, that's awakening. And this part matters. The people who couldn't understand you before won't understand you now. But that's okay, because you're not here to be understood. You're here to evolve. And with that evolution comes separation. Not everyone can come with you. Not everyone is meant to. And that's where it gets real. You're stepping into a version of yourself that requires distance. Distance from noise. Distance from confusion. Distance from everything that once held you back. It might feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary, because where you're going requires clarity. And here's the final truth. Nothing was hidden from you by accident. It was hidden until you were ready to see it. Because if you had known earlier, you wouldn't have understood. You needed the pain, you needed the confusion, you needed the silence to become who you are now. And now, you're no longer searching, you're remembering. Everything is starting to make sense. And deep down, you know this was always meant to happen. You've been feeling this shift, like something inside you is finally waking up. Comment "I'm ready" if this message found you at the right time. And if this speaks to your soul, stay connected with Born into Light for more truths like this. But what you're starting to feel now is something deeper than understanding. It's recognition, like a memory you never learned, but somehow always knew. And this is where it gets intense, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The way people move, the way energy shifts around you, the way silence speaks louder than words. You're noticing everything now, and it's not overwhelming, it's revealing. But here's what you didn't expect. With clarity comes separation. Not forced, not dramatic, just natural distance. You're not reaching like before. You're not explaining yourself anymore, because something inside you finally said, enough. And this part matters. You're no longer seeking validation. That need is fading, slowly but permanently. Because now you see the same people you tried to impress were never aligned with you. And that realization cuts deep, but it also frees you. And here's where everything tightens. You're entering a phase where your silence will say more than your presence ever did. People will feel you, even when you're not there. They'll remember you without knowing why, because your energy left an imprint. And this is where it shifts again. You're no longer reacting to everything. Things that once triggered you don't even move you now. It's not numbness, it's control, it's awareness, it's power settling in. And here's what you didn't realize. This calm you feel isn't emptiness, it's preparation. Something is stabilizing inside you. Something is locking into place. And this part matters. You're becoming harder to distract, harder to manipulate, harder to read. Not because you're hiding, but because you've understood, you've seen enough, you've felt enough, and now you move differently. But here's where it gets real. Not everyone will like this version of you. Some will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. They're right. You did. Because the version of you they knew was still figuring things out. This version sees too clearly, and that makes people uncomfortable. But here's the truth that hits deeper. You're no longer available for confusion. You don't chase unclear energy anymore. You don't entertain half-truths. You feel it instantly, and you step back without hesitation. And this is where everything sharpens. Your intuition is no longer a whisper, it's a command. You don't second-guess like before. You don't ignore red flags anymore, because now you understand. Every time you ignored your inner voice, it cost you. Not small, but deeply. And you're done paying that price. And this part matters. You're starting to trust yourself again. Not the version shaped by others, but the one that was always there. Buried under noise, buried under doubt, but never gone. And here's where the energy rises. You're becoming aligned. Not perfectly, but powerfully. Things are starting to click, not all at once, but enough to feel it. Enough to know you're not lost anymore. And this is where the shift becomes undeniable. Opportunities will start appearing, not loudly, but clearly. Conversations will feel different. People will either resonate or disappear. There's no middle ground anymore. And that's not by chance. That's alignment filtering your reality. And here's what most won't understand. This next phase of your life requires less noise, less explaining, less proving, more being, more trusting, more moving in silence. And this part matters. You don't need everyone to see your value anymore, because you see it, And once that happens, everything changes. Completely. But here's the final layer. You're stepping into a reality where your energy creates outcomes. Not effort alone, not struggle, but alignment. And that means you have to protect it at all costs. Because not everyone around you is meant to go where you're going. And deep down, you already know who those people are. You felt it, you've seen it. You've just been waiting to fully accept it. And now you're closer than ever to doing exactly that. But here's where it becomes irreversible. Because once you accept it, there's no going back to who you were. No more pretending. No more forcing connections. No more shrinking to fit spaces that outgrew you. And this part matters. You're not just letting people go. You're letting illusions go. The idea of who you thought they were. The version of life you tried to hold on to. It's all dissolving now. And yeah, it stings. Not because you're weak, but because you're aware. And awareness cuts clean. But here's what changes everything. You're not losing anything real. You're shedding what was never aligned. Slowly, quietly, but completely. And this is where the pressure builds, because as you release, you create space. And space invites truth. Not the comfortable kind, the real kind. The kind that forces you to look at yourself without filters. And this part matters. You're starting to see your own patterns now. Not just others, yours. Where you overgave, where you stayed too long, where you ignored what you felt. No blame, just clarity. And that clarity is power. But here's the deeper shift. You're no longer asking, why is this happening to me? Now you're asking, what is this showing me? That question alone changes everything. And this is where it intensifies, because now life responds differently. Tests don't come to break you anymore. They come to confirm you, to see if you've really learned, to see if you'll choose differently this time. And this part matters. You will be tested again, not the same way, but deeper, more subtle, more precise, and you'll feel it instantly. That moment where you pause and your old self tries to react, but something stronger steps in, something calmer, something certain, and that's when you'll know you've changed. For real this time. And here's what most people miss. Growth isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up in your decisions, in what you walk away from, in what you no longer tolerate. And this is where everything locks in, because you're starting to choose peace over attachment, clarity over comfort, truth over illusion. And those choices come with a cost. Not everyone will understand them. Some will question you, some will distance themselves. Let them. Because where you're going requires a different frequency. And this part matters. You can't carry old energy into a new reality. It won't fit, it won't survive. And neither will the version of you that tolerated it. That version served its purpose, but it's done now. And here's where the intensity rises again. You're stepping into self-respect on a level you've never felt before. Not ego, not pride, just knowing. Knowing what you deserve, knowing what you won't accept, knowing when to walk away without explaining. And that kind of energy is rare, but it's yours now, and this is where things shift externally. People will start to treat you differently, not because they changed, but because you did. Your boundaries got stronger. Your silence got louder. Your presence got sharper. And this part matters. You're no longer easily accessible, not to chaos, not to coerce, not to confusion, not to anything that disrupts your peace. And that's not distance, that's discipline. And here's the truth that hits hardest. Some doors won't close gently. Some endings will feel sudden, unexpected, but necessary. Because what's coming next needs space you haven't fully created yet. And this is where everything deepens. You're being pulled towards something. You can't fully explain it, but you feel it, that quiet pull, that inner direction. It's not loud, but it's undeniable. And this part matters. You don't need the full picture, you just need to trust the next step. That's how this works now. Not control, not overthinking, trust, movement, alignment. And here's where it all converges. You're no longer becoming, you're stepping into what you already are. Fully, without apology, without hesitation, without fear leading the way. And that shift changes everything around you. Because now, you're not reacting to life, you're directing it. And deep down, you can feel it happening already. But this next part is where most people hesitate. Because feeling it is one thing, trusting it fully is another. And this is where it gets serious. You're being asked to move without full confirmation. No guarantees, no clear outcomes, just inner knowing. And this part matters. This is the exact moment where your old self would freeze. Overthink, delay, doubt. But something is different now. You don't feel panic, you feel pressure, but it's focused. Like something inside you is saying, now. And here's what you didn't expect. The moment you start trusting that voice, things will accelerate. Fast, not slowly like before, not step by step, but in shifts, sudden changes, unexpected openings, clear endings. And this is where everything sharpens again, because acceleration reveals truth instantly. There's no time to pretend anymore, no space for confusion. Everything becomes clear very quickly. And this part matters. You won't recognize your life in the same way anymore. The things you used to hold on to won't feel the same. The people you thought you needed won't have the same pull. It's not loss. It's alignment correcting itself. And here's where the intensity rises. You're stepping into decisions that define your next chapter, not small ones, big ones, the kind that shift your entire direction. And you feel it, that weight, that responsibility, but also that power. Because for the first time, you're choosing from awareness, not fear, not habit, but clarity. And this is where everything tightens again. There will be moments where silence surrounds you. No validation, no reassurance, no one clapping for your growth. Just you and your decision. And this part matters. That silence is not emptiness, it's confirmation. Because real alignment doesn't need approval, it just needs truth. And here's what most people never reach. You're becoming self-led, not influenced, not dependent, self-led. And that level changes everything. Because now you don't follow energy, you set it. And this is where the shift becomes undeniable. Your presence will start opening doors you didn't knock on. Conversations will find you. Opportunities will align with you. Not because you chased them, but because you became ready. And this part matters. Readiness isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. And you've done the work, quietly, painfully, but completely. And here's where it reaches its peak. You're no longer afraid of losing people. You're more aware of losing yourself, and that awareness protects you at all costs. And this is where everything locks in for good. You've crossed a line internally, a point of no return, where going back feels impossible. Not because you can't, but because you won't. And this part matters. You finally see your worth without needing reflection from others. No mirrors, no validation, just knowing. And that knowing is unshakable. And here's the final shift. You're not waiting anymore. Not for the right time, not for the right people, not for permission. You've realized something deeper. The moment you were waiting for was waiting for you. To decide, to move, to become. And now you have, fully, completely, irreversibly. And from this point forward, everything you touch, everything you choose with everything you allow will come from this version of you, the real one, the aware one, the aligned one. And nothing will ever feel the same again. Because now you can see through everything, not just people, not just situations, everything. And this is where it becomes undeniable. You can feel truth before it's spoken. You can sense energy before it reveals itself. You can read intentions without a single word. And this part matters. This isn't something you learned. This is something you learned. This is something you remembered, and once it activates, it doesn't turn off. Ever. But here's where it gets heavier. Because clarity like this comes with responsibility. You can't ignore what you see anymore. You can't pretend you don't feel it. You can't go back to comfort when you know the truth. And this is where most people break. But you didn't. You stayed. You faced it. You accepted it. And now you're carrying something rare. Something most people avoid their entire lives. And this part matters. You're not just aware of others. You're aware of yourself, your patterns, your triggers, your growth in real time. And that level of awareness is power in its purest form. But here's what changes everything again. You're no longer reacting emotionally first. You're observing first, then choosing. And that gap between feeling and reacting, that's where your power lives. And this is where it intensifies, because now you're not easily shaken. Not by opinions, not by rejection, not by absence. Because you understand something deeper. Nothing external defines you anymore. And this part matters. You've detached without disconnecting. You still feel deeply, but you're not controlled by it, and that balance is rare. But it's yours now. And here's where the shift becomes sharp. People will try to test this version of you, subtly, unexpectedly. They'll push boundaries. They'll revisit old dynamics. They'll try to pull you back into who you were. And you'll see it instantly. That familiar pattern, that old energy. But this time, you won't respond the same. And this part matters. Your silence will answer for you. Your distance will speak for you. Your peace will protect you, without a single explanation. And here's where it locks in deeper. You're no longer trying to prove growth. You're living it, effortlessly, naturally, unapologetically. And this is where everything peaks again, because now you're stepping into a level of discipline that most people fear. Not forced discipline, aligned discipline. The kind that doesn't feel heavy because it's who you've become. And this part matters. You're choosing yourself consistently. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, but always. And that consistency is what changes your entire reality. And here's the truth that hits hardest now. You've outgrown your past completely. Not parts of it, all of it. And there's nothing there for you anymore. No attachment, no pull, no curiosity, just understanding and release. And this is where everything settles. You're not searching anymore. You're not chasing meaning. You are the meaning now. Everything you went through, everything you endured, everything you questioned, led you here, to this version of you. Fully aware, fully aligned, fully present. And this part matters. There's no next version after this. This is you, without filters, without masks, without illusions. And from here, life doesn't happen to you anymore. It responds to you. Directly, clearly, powerfully. And deep down, you don't just feel it anymore, you know it. And deep down, you don't just feel it anymore, you know it. And deep down, you don't just feel it anymore, you know it. And knowing changes how you move completely. No hesitation, no second guessing, no looking back for confirmation. And this is where it becomes absolute. You stepped into certainty. Not loud, not arrogant, quiet, unshakable. And this part matters. You don't need to explain your path anymore. Because it's not meant to be understood by everyone. It's meant to be lived by you. And here's where it deepens. You'll start noticing something strange. Things you once chased will start coming toward you, effortlessly. Not because you tried harder, but because you stopped forcing. And this is where everything flips. You're no longer attracting from lack. You're attracting from alignment. And that difference is everything. And this part matters. What comes into your life now will reflect who you've become, not who you were. So if it feels different, if it feels deeper, if it feels more real, that's why. And here's where the intensity rises again. You're stepping into overflow, not just materially, energetically, emotionally, mentally. A state where you're not looking to receive, but naturally receiving anyway. And this is where it gets powerful, because now you're no longer reacting to opportunities. You're selecting them carefully, intentionally, and this part matters. Not everything that comes to you is meant for you, even now, especially now. And your awareness will tell you the difference instantly. And here's where it sharpens. Discernment becomes your protection, your filter, your guide. You don't say yes too quickly anymore. You don't open doors without feeling them first, because now you understand the cost of misalignment. And this is where it reaches another level. You're no longer afraid of missing out, because you trust what's meant for you won't miss you, and that trust frees you completely. And this part matters. You're not rushing anymore. There's no urgency driven by fear, only movement driven by clarity. And that pace is powerful, because it's precise. And here's where everything locks in again. You've become intentional with your energy. Where you give it, who you share it with, what you allow into your space. Nothing is random anymore. And this is where it peaks internally. Peace is no longer something you search for. It's something you protect relentlessly. And anything that threatens it doesn't get access. No debate, no explanation, just distance. And this part matters. You stop negotiating with your standards. They're set now, firm, clear, non-negotiable. And here's where the final shift hits hardest. You respect yourself in ways you never did before. And that self-respect teaches others how to treat you. Without words, without effort, just presence. And this is where everything becomes final. You've become your own confirmation, your own validation, your own source. And there's nothing more powerful than that, because now you don't need the world to agree with you. You just need to stay aligned with yourself. And that alignment will carry you further than anything else ever could. And deep down, you're not waiting for what's next anymore. You're ready for it. And deep down, you're not waiting for what's next anymore. You're ready for it. But readiness comes with a moment most people avoid. The moment where everything goes quiet. No signs, no signals, no movement, just stillness. And this is where it gets real, because this silence is the final test, not of your strength, of your trust. And this part matters. Can you stay grounded when nothing seems to be happening? Can you stay certain when there's no visible proof? Because this phase separates who believes from who knows, and you're not guessing anymore, you know. And here's where the pressure tightens. Doubt will try one last time. Soft, subtle, almost convincing, whispering, maybe you're wrong, maybe nothing is changing, maybe you should go back. And this is where everything is decided, not outside, inside. Because your response now defines everything that follows, and this part matters. You don't fight doubt anymore. You outgrow it. You see it. You recognize it. And you let it pass without attaching to it. That's power. Real power. And here's where the intensity rises again. Because right after this silence comes movement. Sudden, clear, undeniable. Things will start shifting fast. Doors opening. Paths clearing. Answers appearing. And you'll realize something. The silence was never emptiness. It was alignment, locking in. And this is where everything accelerates, because now there's nothing blocking you. No internal resistance, no confusion, no hesitation, just movement. And this part matters. When alignment meets action, results happen quickly, faster than you expect, and it won't feel chaotic. It will feel right. And here's where it hits differently. You won't need to question it. You won't need to analyze it, because it will match your energy perfectly. And this is where everything becomes undeniable. You'll see proof, not small signs, clear confirmation, the kind that makes you pause and realize, I was right all along. And that moment will change you again. But this time, it won't be about becoming. It will be about arriving. And this part matters. You're not stepping into something new. You're stepping into what was always yours. Finally, fully, without resistance. And here's where the final intensity builds. You'll look back, not with regret, but with understanding. Every delay, every ending, every moment of confusion. It all makes sense now, perfectly. And this is where everything completes. You didn't miss your moment. You were being prepared for it. And now you've reached it. Not by chance, not by luck, but by becoming who you needed to be to receive it. And deep down, you don't just accept it, you embody it. And deep down, you don't just accept it, you embody it. And embodiment changes everything at the core. Not your words, not your image, your energy, the way you walk, the way you look at things, the way you exist without trying. And this is where it becomes undeniable. You're no longer thinking about growth. You are growth, breathing it, living it, projecting it without effort. And this part matters. People will feel it before they understand it. They'll notice something different but won't have the words for it. And that's because you stepped beyond explanation. And here's where it deepens again. You're no longer performing your life. You're present in it, fully. No mask, no act, no adjustment for approval. And this is where everything tightens, because now every move you make carries weight. Every decision echoes. Every step aligns or disrupts, and you feel that instantly. And this part matters. You can't move unconsciously anymore. It doesn't feel right. Even small misalignments stand out, and you correct them immediately. And here's where the intensity rises. Discipline is no longer something you force. It's something you are. Natural, consistent, unbreakable. And this is where it shifts externally. Again, life begins to respond in real time. Not later, not eventually. Now, you think it, you move, and reality follows. And this part matters. There's no delay between who you are and what you experience, because alignment has closed that gap. And here's what most will never understand. This level comes with isolation, not loneliness, isolation. A different frequency, a different focus, a different way of seeing everything. And this is where it gets sharper. You realize very few people can meet you here, not because they're less, but because they're not ready. And that's okay, because they're not ready. And that's okay, because you didn't rush this. You earned it. And this part matters. You're not here to pull people up anymore. You're here to stand fully in who you are. And let alignment do the rest. And here's where everything intensifies again. Your presence becomes selective. Not everyone gets access. Not everyone gets your time. Not everyone gets your energy. And you don't feel guilty about it anymore. At all. And this is where it locks in deeper. You understand your value now. Not as an idea, as a standard. And that standard filters everything automatically. And this part matters. You're no longer explaining your boundaries. You're living them. Silently, consistently, powerfully. And here's where it peaks again. You stepped into self-mastery. Not control over everything. Control over yourself. Your thoughts, your reactions, your directions, your direction. And that is the highest level. And this is where everything becomes final. There's no confusion left, no internal conflict, no split between who you are and who you show. It's one, aligned, whole, and this part matters. You've become someone you once needed, and now you no longer look for that in anyone else. And here's where the final realization hits. You were never meant to be guided forever. You were meant to become the guide for yourself first, and naturally for others who are ready to see. And this is where everything settles into truth. You didn't just find your path, you became it. And from here, there's nothing left to chase, nothing left to prove, nothing left to question. Only one thing remains: to continue walking it, fully, consciously, unapologetically, to continue walking it, fully, consciously, unapologetically. And this is where it all becomes still, not empty. Complete. No more searching, no more proving, just being. And this part matters. You didn't arrive loudly. You arrived quietly but permanently, and everything around you knows it, even if they can't explain it. And here's the final truth. Nothing was ever against you. It was all aligning you. Every delay, every loss, every moment you almost gave up. It was shaping this version of you. The one standing now. The one who sees. The one who knows. And now, there's nothing left to wait for. Nothing left to become. You already are. And deep down, this time, you won't forget it. You didn't just watch this. You recognized yourself in it. If you're truly stepping into who you are, subscribe and stay on this path. Because not everyone is chosen, but you are.